Welcome back to the Tiger Den podcast, the place where we get our hands dirty and build a future worth having. I'm Tiger, your host, and today we are stepping away from the woodworking bench and the welding torch to talk about a different kind of power. We are talking about the trades, specifically the Sparkies.
The Sparkies. I love it. You're talking about electricians, right?
Exactly. I was looking at some data recently from House Call Pro, and it's actually wild. Electricians are retiring at a much faster rate than new people are entering the trade. We're looking at something like 80,000 new job openings every single year in the US alone.
80,000? That's a massive gap. It sounds like if you've been thinking about a career change, or if you're just starting out, this might be the golden ticket trade right now.
It really is. And the best part? No 4-year degree, no massive student debt, and you're learning a skill that society literally cannot function without. But here's the thing, Alex. I get emails all the time from listeners asking, Tiger, I want to do it. But how? Where do I actually start? Do I just go buy a pair of wire strippers and knock on a door?
Right. Because it's not like a typical job where you just send a resume to an office. There's licensing, there's code, there's the whole not getting electrocuted part. So, what is the roadmap? What does it look like in 2025 and 2026 to actually become a working electrician?
Well, that's exactly what we're breaking down today. We're going to walk through the 5 solid steps from the classroom to the job site and explore the pros and cons of trade schools versus apprenticeships.
I'm ready. Set the stage for us. What's the very first thing someone needs before they even touch a circuit breaker?
Step 1 is the foundation, education. Now don't groan. This isn't 4 years of British literature. To get started in most states, you need a high school diploma or a GED. But here's a pro tip, and I learned this the hard way back when I was dabbling in shop classes. Pay attention to your algebra.
Algebra? Really? I thought this was a hands-on job.
You'd be surprised. Electricians use math every single day. You're calculating loads, measuring angles for conduit bending, and using Ohm's law to make sure you don't burn the house down. If you're still in school, take those shop classes and pay attention in math. If you're an adult looking to switch, maybe brush up on some basic physics and algebra on Khan Academy or something similar.
Okay, so diploma in hand, math refreshed. Now, this is where it gets confusing for people like me. I see trade school commercials all the time, but I also hear people talking about apprenticeships. What's the difference? Which one is better?
That is the million-dollar question. Let's break it down into 2 paths. Path A is trade school or vocational college. This is where you go to a classroom for maybe a year or 2. You pay tuition, usually anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000, and they teach you the theory, the National Electrical Code, and give you some lab time.
So you pay them to learn. What's Path B?
Path B is an apprenticeship. This is the earn while you learn model. Instead of paying tuition, you actually get hired as an apprentice. You work under a master electrician during the day, getting your hands dirty, and then you usually do your classroom hours at night or on weekends.
Wait, so in an apprenticeship, they pay me?
Exactly. You start at a lower wage, sure, maybe 40% to 50% of what a journeyman makes, but you get a raise every year as you gain skills. By the time you're done, you have 0 debt and 4 or 5 years of actual work experience.
That sounds like a no-brainer. Is there a catch? Why would anyone choose trade school?
Here's the pro tips on that. Apprenticeships, especially through unions like the IBEW or groups like the IEC, are incredibly competitive. Sometimes there's a waiting list that's a year or 2 long. Trade school can be a way to jump the line. If you go to trade school first, you show up to an employer with a basic understanding of the tools in the code, you're job ready. It makes you a much more attractive candidate for an apprenticeship.
That makes sense. It's like putting a down payment on your career. But let's talk timing. How long are we talking about here? If I decide today I want to be an electrician, when am I actually a professional?
It's a marathon, not a sprint, Alex. To become what's called a journeyman, that's a licensed electrician who can work solo, you generally need about 8,000 hours of on-the-job training.
8,000 hours, that's what, 4 years?
Roughly 4 to 5 years. Plus, you'll need about 500 to 1,000 hours of classroom instruction. It sounds like a lot, but remember, you're getting paid for those 8,000 hours if you're in an apprenticeship. You aren't sitting in a dorm room, you're out in the world, building skyscrapers, wiring smart homes, or installing solar grids.
I think it's important to emphasize that range of work. It's not just fixing a light switch in someone's kitchen, right?
Oh, not at all. That's one of the things I love about this trade, the variety. You've got residential electricians doing homes, commercial guys working on offices and malls, and industrial electricians who are in factories dealing with massive machinery and complex control systems. And now we have the huge growth in green tech. Installing EV chargers and solar arrays is a massive subsector right now.
So let's say I've put in my 4 years. I've done my hours. I've stayed late at the classroom. I've got my calluses. What's the final hurdle? Is there a big boss fight at the end?
Ha ha ha! Sort of. It's the journeyman's exam. Each state has its own licensing board. You have to pass a rigorous test that covers the National Electrical Code, safety protocols, and theory. It's a tough exam, but once you pass it, you're a licensed journeyman. Your earning potential jumps significantly the moment you get that license.
That's the C word people care about, cash. We talked about the job openings, but what does the successful part of the title look like? What are people actually making?
It varies by state, but the data shows that the median pay is around $60,000 to $65,000. But here's what the averages don't tell you. A specialized journeyman or a master electrician in a high-demand area can easily clear $100,000 or more with overtime. And if you decide to take the final step and become a contractor, starting your own business, the ceiling basically disappears.
I saw that in the House Call Pro notes. They mentioned that some electrical business owners using their platform increased their revenue by 35% in a year. That's the entrepreneurial side of the trade.
Exactly. You don't just have to be the guy with the tool belt forever. You can be the person running the fleet. But you have to start with the basics. I remember talking to a buddy of mine who's a master electrician, and he told me, Tiger, the hardest part isn't the electricity, it's the discipline.
What did he mean by that?
He meant showing up on time, being willing to crawl into a hot attic or a muddy trench, and being obsessed with safety. In woodworking, if I mess up a cut, I waste a piece of walnut. In electrical, if you mess up a connection, you could start a fire or hurt someone. You have to be a person who follows the rules to the letter.
That's a sobering thought. It's a trade with high stakes.
It is, but that's why it pays well and why it's respected.
So let's recap the roadmap for someone listening right now who's fired up. Step 1, get your diploma and brush up on math.
Yes. Step 2, decide on your path. Do you want to try for a union apprenticeship, a non-union apprenticeship, or go to a trade school first to get ahead?
Step 3 is the grind, the 4 to 5 years of supervised work.
Right. You've got to log those 8,000 hours. Keep a meticulous logbook of your hours because you'll need to prove them to the state board later.
Step 4.
Pass that journeyman exam. Study the NEC like it's your Bible.
And step 5.
Keep learning. This isn't a static trade. Technology changes, smart homes, automation, renewable energy. If you want to be a successful electrician, you have to stay curious.
That sounds like a solid plan. Any last Tiger Pro tips for the road?
I learned this the hard way. Buy the best boots you can afford. You're going to be on your feet all day, often on concrete or ladders. Your back and your knees will thank you in 10 years. And second, don't be afraid to ask stupid questions when you're an apprentice. The only truly stupid question is the one that leads to a short circuit because you were too proud to ask for clarification.
Great advice. It sounds like a challenging but incredibly rewarding career.
It really is. If you're looking for a path that offers security, good pay, and the satisfaction of actually building something real, the electrical trade is hard to beat.
Well, if you're listening and thinking about making the jump, we want to hear from you. Have you started an apprenticeship? Are you in trade school? Reach out to us on social media at Tiger Den Pod and let us know how it's going.
And if you found this breakdown helpful, do us a favor. Subscribe and leave a review. It helps us keep the lights on, literally.
Ha ha ha, I see what you did there.
Couldn't help myself. Thanks for joining us in the den today. Now get out there, be safe, and let's get to work.
Catch you next time.